All right, here we go. We got a lot of marking to do. I want to mark Monday. I want you to get to this point where all your marking is done. So if that means you don't get to this point tomorrow, please take it home and get to this point. I want to start sewing on Monday. I am going to map it out for you on the board. You can take a picture of it. You're going to have a daily target. Please try and stay with me. We're going to go through it rapidly. All right? Okay. Let's just dive in. Okay. Yokes. The other thing I want to say is make sure you are cutting out all of your notches. These are going to be your friends. You're going to need your markings. You're going to need your notches. Okay? All right. Markings. Anytime you see a dot, you're going to be marking all of your dots, your squares, and any other types of symbols. You can use chalk. You can use pins, you can use snips. You can use a pencil. I don't have a problem with the pencil as long as it's a light touch of a pencil. All right, I am going to use a combination of the blue chalk and snips, all right? Okay. The techniques that I show you on how to mark, you can use in anything that you sew or use in any other patterns. All right, so I'm going to start with the back yoke, the front and the back yoke. We're going to go around. You see that you have multiple dots. You're only going, and you see you have lots of dots within the different size ranges. You're only going to mark your size. How I do this is I'm making a size 8. I'm going to put a pin in the middle of the dot in each of my size 8s. Can I get my pin cushion? Did I leave it over? Yep, okay. And I'm just going to put a pin in all of the 8s like this. And I'm taking off all of the pins. I utilize the pins that are already in the pattern. That way, I'm not using a lot of pins. I am marking on the wrong side of my fabric always. And I'm marking right where my pin went into the fabric, and I'm flipping it over. I'm marking right where my pin went into the fabric. I could make it easy on my life, and you can see where the pin has gone out like that. And I'm just gonna mark on all of them. Each pin needs to be marked twice. There's the backs. Now I need to come in here and mark these front pieces. Marking takes the longest time, along with laying out, cutting out your pattern and laying out your pattern. Just takes the longest. Okay, the only other thing that I foresee on this is you always want to snip your center backs or your center fronts. I'm going to snip, and when I talk snip, I'm talking a little itty bitty snip, that much, okay? And then I have one pin that holds them all together. That one's done. Pocket. One marking for the pocket, and that is our fold line. I'm going to snip our fold line, just a snip, just like that. That one's done. Okay, placket, you're going to see you have a stitching line right here. You have a stitching line across here. We're going to snip the stitching line for the first thing. We're going to snip there, snip here, and snip here. Then I'm going to take my pin and I'm going to put it in all of these dots. And I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to fold down that stitching line. And I'm just going to draw that line right there. draw the line on the back. Just do the best you can. It's okay. And the exact same thing on how you did the other dots, you're gonna do these dots. There are a lot of markings on these pattern pieces. This is a very advanced project. And one of the reasons I chose this project, because it has a lot of design elements. Okay, sleeve. Let's start at the bottom of the sleeve. We have 2 pleats, and then we have where our placket will go. We have 4 dots that need to be marked. Once again, I'm just taking pins from my existing sleeve. And I'm marking those. I'm also going to snip my pleats. And you can see that I consciously or unconsciously do this. I use my finger as my anchor when I do that. So I have snipped for my pleats like this. I'm gonna mark where my plackets go. Linda, if I don't get them in there, will you get them in there for me? I just go like that. Okay. Once again, I have it right there. And I have it right here. Now, I have a little trick here. Now, I've put in a lot of sleeves in my time. I've put in a lot of sleeves. You have a dot here, a dot here, and a dot here. I don't like to mark these with chalk. It's just me. I'm gonna snip these 3. And I'm just gonna snip in the vicinity. I like a snip. So if you want to dot these with your chalk, you can. I like to snip those 3. That's just personal preference. Okay, that's done. That's being saved for last. That's gonna be saved for last. All right, front band. I have already adhered my interfacing. I've ironed on my interfacing to both of the front pieces of here. Now, there are 2 dots on here. I am not gonna mark those. I am not gonna mark those. You also see these symbols right here. What do you think those are? Those are buttonhole placements. I am not gonna mark those because things can change and buttonhole placements can fluctuate. I'm not gonna mark those. The only thing that I am going to mark is the center of our front bands, okay? And that is that black solid line. So I'm just going to, once again, put a snip, sorry. I'm gonna snip that black solid line. I don't care about this broken one. I just wanna do the black solid line. Okay. This is our collar. I love the collar. Why do you think I love the collar?
It has just center snip.
It's the only marking it has. There's no other markings on it. It's so basic. I love you. Yep. The only marking that you're gonna do is the one right between the notches. This is you don't even need to mark that one. Just mark this one right here. Just a snip. Okay? Just snip it right here. Snip it when you have your interfacing on there, okay? You only need interfacing on one of the pieces, right? Now, mine are all gonna be up here if you need to look at them. This is your cuff. Once again, I'm not gonna mark any of these dots, okay? I'm not gonna mark the buttonhole placements or this one right here. I'm not gonna do that because the cuffs can fluctuate, all right? The cuffs can fluctuate, all right? So there's really nothing to do in the cuffs, and you only need interfacing on 2 of the cuffs, and then 2 of the others are non-interfaced, okay? And then this is our collar band. And we do need to mark these two right here. You have one here, two here, and then we have two down here. You will have to mark those. So I am, sorry. Thank you. I am going to mark those really super quick for you. Now, it's easier to mark when the interfacing is already ironed on, because if you mark and then you go to iron on your interfacing, sometimes you lose the markings because your interfacing will cover it up, okay? So that's all done. Okay, let's do this one first. All right, so this is our front. We do have some markings that that are going to be a little interesting. All right, so let's start at the bottom, work our way up. We do have this dot. I'm not going to worry about that dot. Okay, no, we do need to make that dot now that I'm thinking about that. Yep. Let's do that one, because that's where we're going to stop. Okay, then this is our dart. I'm going to do that one last. We're going to do this one first. This is pertaining to our sleeve, and we are going to do that one. And this pertains to our sleeve as well. Then I'm going to do the big dots. These are little dots. Those pertain to our sleeve. These bigger dots pertain to our pocket. Our pocket is going to go right here. Bam, like that. Okay? And those are the markings that tell us, hey, our pocket's going to go here. All right? So right in the center, once again, make these little dots, make these little markings, because if you make these big markings, you might get these confused when we start putting in our dart, okay? Now, this is a bust dart. You will have a bust dart right here and a bust dart right here. Purpose of a dart is to go around a curve, okay? This is a one-dimensional piece of fabric. We've got to make, you have a curve here. We're women, we have curves, okay? We got to make this curve. The bigger your curve, the bigger roundness you have, the bigger this dart is going to be. It's going to be a bigger dart, all right? I have a size 8. This is going to be at the apex right here. So my dot is going to end right here. It's going to be from here to here, and I am going to snip. That's going to be my beginning. So I'm going to follow it here, and if you don't know, you can always take a pencil or a marker, okay? If you've never put in a dart before, it's going to be the first thing you guys sew is the dart. Okay, go ahead and just pencil in your dart so then you know where it's going. You can get lost in all of these markings, okay? Would you ever know that that's where my dart is? All right. Once you have your dart, I want you to snip the beginning and the other beginning, okay? Because we're going to end up putting these two beginnings together. And this dart is going to go from here to here. And I need to mark that dart. Dart, first thing that we do is the dart. Maybe it's the pocket. That's that one. That's a bust dart. You'll have one on both sides. These are back darts. You can see that they go the whole length of the back, okay? They go the whole length of the back. Your back yoke will be right here, and then your sleeve will continue from the yoke into the bottom of the shirt with the back yoke, all right? Gives you that back waist some nice fitting, all right? Once again, you have multiple, lots of different lines here. You're like, holy cow, which one is mine? I have no idea when it comes down to here. I know that there's my 8 right there. So I know that this is part of my 8. That's the ending. This is the beginning. That's part of my 8 right there. So if you're unsure, like I said, go ahead, pencil in your 8, just go ahead and draw it, and then start penciling it in, figuring it out. Where's it at? It's right there. There's your other part, right there. Okay, and then you can continue on if you want to. That's how big your dart's gonna be. Right? And then I don't want to forget this guy over here. And I don't think I have any other markings right here. Now, there will be a specific way on how I show you how to do these darts. Don't fret, they're not hard. They are not hard at all. Just a little time consuming. Flip him over and get these first. Make sure, just remember, every time that you do a marking, you're going to mark double. There's always 2 times you're gonna mark 1 pin, all right? 2 times you're gonna mark 1 pin, all right? Okay. So mine will always be up here if you need to reference any of these. Otherwise, when you come back on Monday, I want all of this done. All right? Happy sewing.